Good evening and welcome to the second race night and for what is going to be round 2 of the Automobilista Australia Super 2 Summer Series here from Symmons Plains. Got a similar size grid, but a little bit of a smaller commentary box tonight with just myself and Brendan Ross. Rossi, how's it going, mate?
Yeah, not as cramped this evening in the com box. So looking forward to our 2 rounds tonight.
It should be an intriguing night of racing with two vastly different circuits. So the first two races this evening will come from the Symmons Plains Raceway, also known as the Brian Walsh Raceway as well, or Brian Walsh Plains. I'll just bring that up on the screen there for those that do not know the circuit or a little bit unfamiliar there. So as you can see there, 7 corners, 2.4 kilometres long, top speed of about 266 with a slipstream though, Rossi. I'd say you may even be able to sniff 270 with a lot of full throttle action here and a lot of heavy braking as well.
Yes, and then they've got to deal with the bumps heading down to the last sector, where if you get too aggressive over those bumps, you're going straight into the cow paddock down the side.
Yeah, and turn 1 is also a very, very tricky braking zone with aforementioned bumps. You've got to deal with a slight curvature to the right-hand side there, and then you've got to sweep left for what is 2 corners, turns 2 and 3, but they're essentially all part of one complex. And for whatever reason, the server has ticked over a little bit too far to the race session there. But it will be sorted out momentarily. But that gives us a little bit of time to just go over the schedule here. So we've done Adelaide. The plane has crashed here for Pleb Airlines, and we're now off to Tasmania. I think it's a little bit south of Launceston, if my geography is correct, but I'm probably wrong with that one. And of course, later tonight, going to Phillip Island. And just a couple. Oh, actually, no, we'll bring up the race facts a little bit later tonight. But as we do wait for everything to sort it out, we'll just flicker back to the old splash screen. But qualifying not too far away. Rossi, you were in the practice session for a little bit there. I was a little bit absent having dinner. What was obviously some of the talking points from some of the drivers, and of course, obviously, what was the pace set from a number of these drivers out there?
Pace was at Tim Redmond set the fastest with a 51.7, and then tyre-wise, there was talk of people might actually be able to double stint the soft tyres. Otherwise, they definitely could run a soft hard or hard soft variant throughout the race. So they're not seeing too much tyre wear, given the 4 times tyre wear that is set for the series.
Yeah, so 4 times tyre and 4 times fuel wear and rate have ticked over to the qualifying session now. So now it's just a little bit of a waiting game. It is a private qualifying session, so those that are used to seeing some, in qualifying, seeing everybody wait at the end of the line, you're not going to have to do that here. You're only going to see one car at a time. Reason being why qualifying was made private. Everyone only gets one shot at it, Rossi, and when you have 20 plus cars on what essentially is very short circuits, it could lead to some issues.
Yes, and then by the time people who are leaving the back of pit lane, the guys at the front of pit lane are already passing them on their hot laps. So given that reason for such a small track with such close closing speeds, yeah, private qualifying is the way to go.
Right, so now we've got some drivers now heading out onto the circuit. And it looks like Brett will be one of the, I think he is, at least according to live races, the first man out on the circuit. Now, the session hasn't technically gone green yet. You can see the top left-hand corner of your screen. Still 5 minutes left. If he presses escape here, he won't be able to set a lap. So this is his first night. So he's jumped in this evening. And sometimes when you do leave the pits when it's red, your first lap doesn't count. So some tracks it does and some tracks it doesn't, I've noticed. So we'll see if it works for him.
Going back a few years ago, I think most of us used to leave before the red light and you could still set a lap, so I think he might be right. I think it's just more of a visual thing. So I've never not had a time set for me going out early, but could be proven wrong.
I have seen it once or twice. It is a rare occurrence, but it is something that can happen from time. Oh, and he's gone back to the pits there. So, well, that's him done and dusted for qualifying. So, disaster already. Who else is out on the circuit? Who is number 8?
Number 8.
Number 8 is
Peter Thrower.
Peter Thrower. So, he had a very solid round first time out at Adelaide. And there he is. To keep rocking and continuing his Adelaide.
Yeah, so sitting 4th in the championship. Had a pretty solid Adelaide and probably looking to capitalise with possibly a race win under his belt tonight.
Hoping to certainly steal a win. The rest of the field will certainly be hoping to steal a win away from this Tim Redmond as well as a red hot form at the pre-season now through the first round of thrower. The first 2 seconds just 2 corners to navigate. How's he going to navigate through them here? Bad. Leaning heavily on that right rear cross. 52.2. That's a solid banker, Rossi.
It's a solid banker. It's probably it's not in the realms of the 51s that we've seen from Tim Redmond, so he could be running the hard option of tyres to start this race 1 possibly.
Is a personal best from him, at least according to the live races. So, it's a good time to pull it out in a qualifying session. And got Daniel Cox 52.9, Stancliff 53.0. So that looks like he's on a hard tyre, or he's made a mistake. Type Band 53.1 and 53.8 for Frickish, his first round of the season. Snipes on 52.5. We've got championship leader now on screen, and up by almost 0.3 of a second. To continue his hot streak here. Some say he could do high 51s or low 52s on hard tyres. If so, that is mighty impressive. And he's made a little bit more time in the middle sector, and that middle sector, Ross, it's all about the exit out of the hairpin.
Yes, it's vital to get that exit, so then you've got the top high speed going into the final corners, but he has set that purple in the middle sector with 17.8.
There you go, 51.9. That is a very, very quick lap time from Tim Redmond. He goes to the top. Just trying to have a look, have a bit of a squiz and see what he's done. We've got Matt Cecil on the circuit at the moment. He's on a lap more.
And going back up the circuit.
It's looped there, looking very odd. I wonder if he's had maybe some hard tyre. No, he's just looped it on a hard tyre there. So he's going to continue on though, because you do want to continue on just in case a number of drivers don't set a lap time.
And for the instance where he will start ahead of Brap, because Brap's already entered and disconnected from the track before he set a lap, so. And he spun around again.
Yeah, so not an ideal lap for Matt Cecil, but he's still going to try and continue. That might give him a track cut actually, by cutting across the grass like that. Will it count? It does. Go to the back of the field. He's going to show his disgust by doing his best Scott Pye impersonation at turn number 2. And got Mishra now out on the circuit. I'm trying to think, he's not set a lap yet, so still got Justin Cecil, Dimitri. Brap did leave the pits, but he won't be able to set a lap, and of course Mishra on the screen. He's 4 tenths, almost 5 tenths down here in the first split. But I think he's just looking to set a solid qualifying lap, and I think he's on the hard tyre here, judging by his lap times compared to the times that he's set on live races.
Yeah, well, given that he hasn't had too much time in the server, it's a pretty respectable time to do on your first couple laps.
So to the line for Mishra, and he goes P3, so he was actually quite solid in that final sector. Lost a little, obviously 3 tenths, 4 tenths I think in that first sector. Yeah, almost 5 tenths in that first sector, and he sort of held steady for the rest. Well, he was actually purple in the final sector there. Lost about a tenth and a half in the middle sector. So he's got some solid pace in that thing. He's just got to work on that first sector. We didn't see the first couple corners, but the man of the moment. And Tim Redmond continues his hot form. And, well, Rossi is looking the goods at the moment. But Symmons Plains, it can throw up a few curveballs around here.
Well, threw up a couple of curveballs last season of Super 2, but Tim Redmond is the man that everyone's talking about, and he's the fastest of the lot, so we may see another Adelaide repeat again.
Yeah, so drivers now in the drivers briefing. This will give us a little bit of time just to go over the championship standings. Now, I do have the team standings that they're out by a couple points. I think the Nissan team, I was told, were out by just 2 points, but aside from that, everything else was accurate. But just bear with me for a second, just try and find a nice picturesque camera. Alright, so just go over the driver standings first up. As you can see, Tim Redmond, 300 points, perfect weekend out at Adelaide, and he's 51 points clear of our Season 1 Super 2 winner in Steve Burko. Daniel Cox third on 204, so big gaps between the first three, and then after that, it is very, very tight, with Cox only 6 points clear of Thrower, who is tied on points with Termo, but Peter the Thrower got his better result earlier than Termo, and that's why he's ahead. Then Taipan, solid night from him, and he's in 6th place, so only 3 points drift by Mitch. Disastrous first race, but worked his way back into it in the second race there. But he's got a bit of work to do to climb back in the point standings compared to Tim Redmond. He's on 189. Darren Kemp on 186. Solid start to his season. Then Steve Warwick on 162 in his first outing in Super 2. Solid night from him. Matt Cecil 10th on 144. We have Cheese on 138, followed closely by Rody. And then we have Hans Brunswick and Lachlan Locke, as well as NZ Snipes, all tied there on 129. Hashtag go Hans. Pierre Roy on 120. He'll be sitting out the Symmons Plains race because he can't get the circuit to work. We did try working with him to try and get it to work, but seems one of the Sky.gmts wasn't able to work for him for whatever reason, but for everyone else it did work. So a bit odd, but we should hopefully see him for the second round of races tonight at Phillip Island. Then we have Justin Cecil on 117, Mike Coulston on 114. Mishra, he'll be looking for a better time out tonight. He's given himself a good opportunity in qualifying. He's on 96 with Kai Jones on 0 points with 2 DNFs. And there's also, I think, another driver that I think was Cracker, who's also on 0 points after 2 races and 2 DNFs. So, very intriguing mid-pack there, Rossi, but also a couple of drivers that, I have to say, did underperform a little bit compared to what we normally expect. So, like Mitch in particular, his first race being particularly disastrous.
Yeah, we normally expect a little bit more from him given his recent form across all forms of AMSOZ recently. But then same with the likes of Darren Kemp and even Steve Warwick, they're pretty competitive. So we may see them jump up a few positions tonight if things can go their way. But then we've got the likes of Cheese and NZ Snipes who are out of position in the championship and pretty much starting towards the front of the field. So they have a pretty good handy chance of jumping up a few positions if they line up all the hay bales.
Yeah, so Snipes had a very good first race of the season, but I think he had a DNF in race 2, so that's why he's all the way down there on 129 points. So he'll be hoping to finish both these 2 races from Symmons Plains and hopefully both the races from Phillip Island as well. But over to the team standings now. And Pro Drive Racing Australia leading the points on 399. Just trying to remember who's in that team. I think that is the Taipan and Daniel Cox entry, I believe. Matt White Motorsport, that's Darren Kemp and Lion Mitch, 375, not too far away. So it's an intriguing points standings, at least at the top. Walkinshaw Racing with 300. But that was only because there was one driver in that team that showed up. I do believe Ben Pearson has dropped out of the championship and he's actually been replaced by another driver. I'm trying to remember who that is off the top of my head, but there should be 2 Walkinshaw cars at some point. Maybe Pierre Roy off the top of my head is going to jump into that seat, so should see Walkinshaw pick up some extra points this evening. Nissan Motorsport on 269, followed by Lucas Dumbrell on 261. Pro Drive Racing Australia Super 2 team 249. That's because Picardo is currently out with wheel issues, and Burko, our reigning champion, picking up all 249. Then Erebus Motorsport 246. And then we have 888 Race Engineering with Peter Thrower flying the flag, being the sole runner for them Adelaide. They do have 2 runners tonight, so they should jump up the standings this evening. DJR Team Penske on 198, and then Brad Jones Racing on 162. With all those 3 teams there at the bottom end of the top 10 in the team standings, all of them only having a single driver in the first round. So all this very early on in the season, but that will change quite quickly.
To go back to your Walkinshaw driver point, Pierre Roy has stepped into car number 22, so he will be a handy addition to Tim Redmond in that team's championship.
Yeah, so solid car to jump into, and pressure will be on him because there's a team championship up for grabs if he can put it all together. Alright, so got all that stuff out of the way. Now, to the race facts, to the pleb hub. And tonight it is 2 16-lap races. I'll just confirm on my screen if it is
17.
It's 17 in the serve, but on my calendar I thought it was 16. So a little bit of stuff up there, but yeah, quite a bit of fuel usage around this circuit, but are expecting 1 stop. Some drivers may be able to get away with no stopping, Rossi, if they can do a bit of fuel saving and run the hard tyres though.
There was chat, particularly from Steve Burko and some of the lot, that they said it was pretty much undoable, but with a bit of heavy fuel saving for the first opening laps, you may be able to save enough just to scrape home, but then you're dealing with tyres if you're on a different set than one you want to be on.
Yeah, so is a couple ways to go about it tonight though, Rossi. It's not just going to be like, I guess the prime strategy for Adelaide would have been just hards, but tonight I think with both the circuits that we have available, both tyres are going to be on the table for these guys. Like maybe you could see guys here at Symmons start the race maybe on the hard tyres, go super long and then put softs on right at the end and have a bit of a dip. Or they could go the other way. Maybe they're stuck in traffic, they want to get out and clear air, pit early and put the hard tyres on and have some clear air.
Yes, yeah, tonight, definitely the Tasmania round, we are going to see the use of soft and hard compound mixture. So it'll be intriguing to see who uses it and when they use it.
Yeah, so, and well, just to clarify, because it was a bit of a talking point during the week, just prior to obviously tonight's racing, there is no compulsory pit stop in this series. So it was mentioned that yes, there are going to be pit stops in this series, but that's mainly because of the amount of tyre and fuel wear. But there was no mention of there being a compulsory pit stop. That has been cleared up for the drivers. There is no compulsory pit stop, so if people can make it without pitting, so if they could do it around here, Rossi, that would be a significant advantage considering how long the circuit is and how long a pit stop takes.
Yes, it could. Another thing I was just thinking of, can people use a mixture of tyres?
Yes, they can. So if only restriction with the tyres for these guys is that whatever compound you qualify on, you have to start the race on the same compound. It doesn't have to be the same exact tyre that you use in qualifying, just has to be the same compound. But after that, whatever tyre you want to use, you can use.
Nice. So we may see, if someone's smart enough to use that, they may be able to line up a tricky little dodger there and get away with that.
Alright, so formation lap underway. Rossi, run us through the grid here for race number 1 from Symmons Plains.
We've got to be very quick for such a short lap. We've got championship leader Tim Redmond in pole position alongside Peter Thrower, Ujrit Mishra and NZ Snipes on the second row, Steve Burko and Darren Kemp sharing the third, Daniel Cox and Scott Stancliff side by side, Lime Mitch and Taipan rounding out the top 10. Then we head into the midfield with Cheese and Freakish on the 6th row, Lachlan Locke and Cuz, otherwise known as RSM Latino, sharing the 7th row, Steve Warwick and Brody, then with Termo, Dimmy, Matt Cecil and Rap, and then Justin Cecil rounds out the grid.
So I did have a number of drivers with their lights on there. If you could just notify people there just in the chat for me, Rossi, just to turn their lights off. But yeah, intriguing field. And Rap is one, I think he jumped in fairly late, so hasn't had too much practice. Of course, he didn't set a time in qualifying. He's one that's going to be to keep an eye on in the early portion of this race. He's a fairly handy steerer and he's a good starter from what I hear as well, so should see him jump up, but it is an awkward grid though, Rossi, with the back half of the grid sort of curling around the final corner.
Yeah, so some guys may have some cold tyres at the front there, so compared to guys who have just got freshly hot tyres.
Yeah, so just waiting for the back half of the grid to start forming up. I think that's Latino with his lights on there, so you better turn those off. There we go, it's just done that. We're still waiting for the Erebus cars, the number 9 car, I can't remember who's on that one actually. And actually the second Erebus looks like he's just out, and Latino moving as well, but is a countdown timer or a cooldown timer that once that runs out it'll just reset when it's out of position and get on the way. Looks like that's going to be triggered here, so here we go. Ready for race 1 here from Symmons Way. Lights are on. Away we go. Fairly even start for the first 3 rows. Looks like Stancliff though has got a solid start, but into turn 1 it's Tim Redmond. Will they get through cleanly? I think that's Kemp that's run wide and off onto the grass. But outside of that though, it looks fairly clean, Rossi.
Yes, other than the Darren Kemp and the other Nissan of Lime Mitch, they were the only really true contact at the turn 1 there, so they have listened to the driver's briefing there.
And Type Bend on the inside of the hairpin. They're pulling through so far fairly cleanly here on the first lap, so the driver's doing a really, really good job here. But here we are underway, 17 laps of Symmons Plains. Tim Redmond in the lead. Thrower keeping him honest. Have had Snipes though jump ahead of Mishra early on in this one. Snipes solid in the first race at Adelaide, looking to make another solid start to his weekend.
Just looking down the field, there's not too much movement. Scott Stancliff is our biggest gain of 3 positions, and really other than other people have just lost either 1 or 2 positions, so no real changes to the grid as yet.
And the thrower just getting a little bit sideways coming out of turn 2. Unfortunately, Snipes had nowhere to go. Big dive from Stancliff, big hit into Mishra, and he's going to bump him from wide there. That'll be that. No, he's redressed it, but yeah, just in a little bit too hot there. That hairpin is easy to do, just to run into the back of someone, even if you don't mean it, just because the car in front slows up so much. Mishra also late on the brakes, and he gives Snipes a bit of a run. Snookers him off the road. Stancliff says thank you very much. Mirko says thank you very much. And so does Daniel Cox. So disaster for Snipes and disaster for Mishra.
I think that was a case of the guys feeling sorry for each other, because initially Peter Farrell went in deep to that last corner, and then those 2 other guys just followed in sympathy there. So yeah, they all got caught out by trying to outbrake one another.
Turmo and Steve Warwick having a ding-dong battle here for 14th place, and Matt Cecil looking to work his way through the field as well. So a couple of battle packs. We've got yellows out the hairpin. That is, oh no, it's a disaster for Mishra. He's found his way into the tyre bundle on the exit of the hairpin. Very, very easy to do. Pretty much every race that's been run at this version of the circuit, I've seen someone into that tyre bundle. It's very easy to do.
It is an easy one to do. I haven't done it myself, but now that I say that, I'll definitely be doing that the next time I go there. But yeah, it's caught many people out, and it's not a fun bunker to get stuck in, I've heard.
And we'll pass up the race to Stancliff. Also, Cheese just make a slight mistake there. Second last corner, Latino's made a mistake in turn 2. Cheese is going to get that position back. And got Snipes now putting Daniel Cox under pressure. Cox having to go defensive into the hairpin. Snipes is going to try and carry it around the outside. Not going to do it there, but he might get the slightly better exit and set it up for the penultimate corner here. He will have the toe, and it's an easier overtaking point here in this second last corner. Here we go, he's got the run. Cox goes defensive, just dissuades him. Snipes backed out for a second, but then decided, no, I'm going to send it here. Shows the nose, maybe a light rub, but nothing untoward there. The final corner they go. Snipes looking to get a wriggle on here. I do wonder if he's on the soft tie here. Quite handy out there. So if he's on the soft, he's definitely going to be pitting. might be an idea, because the tyres, you can get maybe 10 laps, maybe a little bit more out of the soft tyre. Might be an idea just to go a lap or two, as we see Cox run a little bit wide at the hairpin. Snipes closer than he was the previous lap. He's going to want to force the move this time by. Cox goes defensive. Snipes looking to go around the outside, and we've got a car off. That is Thrower. He's made a mistake at the penultimate corner. What has he done here? Has he had a helping hand, or has he just outbroke himself? He's just outbroke himself, and well, down to 7th he goes. It was looking good for Triple Eight Race Engineering there, Rossi, running 2nd and 3rd, but now Thrower's got a bit of work to do to get himself back into a podium place. Right, just had Rossi drop out there. My apologies. So I'm going to be flying solo for a little bit here. As we see, he's getting all kinds of sideways out of the hairpin, and Turmo up 5 spots. So he didn't set a lap in qualifying. If he did, it was a poor one. Didn't quite catch it. But he's now up into 12th place, and he's looking to get onto the back of Latino, who's got Freakish right in front of him. Freakish ran 1 or 2 races last season in Super 2. Didn't finish out the season, I don't believe, but it's good to see him back in the number 8 Brad Jones racing car. And Latino now up into 10th place, up 4 spots. Big lock up though into turn 2. He's able to pull it up. I think a little bit thankful that Freakish also made a mistake there. Freakish now having a look at the hairpin. He's gone very deep. He's going to struggle to turn it in, is he? No, he's going to do it. Good move from Freakish, but he's looped it on the exit. And Tyres will be getting a bit worn now. And yeah, he's going to have to 50-point turn it to get it. But just rolling through the field here. Got Brap in the pits. So he's had a bit of a horror run. He was down in last place, and he's getting his pit stop out of the way. Redmond 2.5 seconds clear of Stancliff at the moment. So that gap's about, since Stancliff's got himself in 2nd place, about maintained itself. So Stancliff will be kicking himself from a poor qualifying effort here, because he's doing okay in the race here. And Lion Mitch, he's up 6 spots, as we know. Fantastic starter, very good at working his way through the field on the opening lap or couple laps of the race. So it looks like his pit crew getting ready. So he's going to be the first of the front runners. Coxie also looks like his pit crew getting ready as well. Not a bad idea from Coxie. I reckon he'll put maybe a set of softs on and try and undercut. But Snipes is not having any of it. He wants to get a move done immediately. And he sends it. Got the move done, but Cox in the end having to pit anyway. And no, Lion Mitch staying out. So Brap is going to exit the pits right in front or alongside. And Zed Snipes. Aaron Kemp also solid run here in P6. A mistake early on there at turn 2 on the first lap, first corner, or second corner. But still doing a solid job at the moment. And Taipan, so his pit crew getting ready. And he's had Turbo fly up to the back of him. So Turbo doing a really solid job here for DJR Team Penske. Recovery job after it was a qualifying lap. Didn't make it in qualifying. And a number of drivers in the pit, so that's Lion Mitch, Scott Stancliff, and our former race leader and championship leader Tim Redmond in the pits. I wonder how that will play out. So Burko now in the lead. Snipes, Burko, their pit crew's getting ready. Oh, Dimitri, he's got himself a penalty. Gonna have to hazard a guess that was for speeding in the pits. Very easy to do on the way into it. Lion Mitch, he's made up a heap of time on Stancliff in the pits. So I reckon his experience in the main series and with strategy has enabled him to make up quite a bit of time there. little bit of time. Yeah, about a second, almost 2 seconds. Yeah, I would say about 2 seconds over Stancliff in that pit stop sequence, and he's lost about 2 seconds to Lime Mitchell in that sequence as well. So perhaps Stancliff just adding too much fuel for the second half of the race has cost him time, not only for the race lead, but also to cars behind. Darren Kemp in the pits, NZ Snipes in the pits, and Burko in the pits, as well as Turbo. Tim Redmond going through into an effective race lead. Lock though still yet to pit in the lead. He's got a lap car behind him. I think 33 car is Rap. And yes, it is. Blue flags now. Rap, he's got Tim Redmond right behind him. Just letting him go there at the sweep a little bit further back. And looks like Justin Sess has just been overtaken from Lime Mitch and Stancliff. Sounds in my headset, so it sounds like someone has jumped into the commentary box. Is that true?
Rossi is back. I've just had a little internet issue, so that's why I've just gone quiet.
Welcome back. And,
F for internet.
F for internet, and Lime Mitch fastest lap of the race. Unfortunately for him, he's stuck right behind Scott Stancliff, but we've got a very intriguing battle these final few laps though, Rossi.
I'd like to know where we're up to, but I was just trying to follow along while I had that internet outage. But I was just wondering there whether Lachlan Lockie may have been doing a no-stop strategy, but he has come into the pits.
That's Justin Sess is still going all out there, so he may be playing that no-stop strategy game. We'll see as Stancliff and Lime Mitch continue to battle it. 2 seconds behind Redmond. Lime Mitch having a look at Stancliff, a big deep dive, bit of contact. But they're both going to live to fight another day there. But these two, they had a couple of run-ins last season, Rossi. So fireworks afoot already. And in fact, there's Justin Cecil in the pits. Lock up for Stancliff through turn 1 and 2. He's somehow pulled it up, but he's got all over the back of that Redmond racing team.
Well, to quote Lee Diffie, these two do not like each other. Now, they may like each other, but to go with the common quoting scene we've got going here, these two do not like each other.
They certainly don't. So we come back, I'm sure these guys are going to be yelling at each other. I think he's got another drive-through penalty. A little bit further back, we've got Daniel Cox in 4th place, up 3 spots. The pit stop sequence, him pitting early has worked out, so we did see Thrower making a mistake. So he's trying to make his way through the field, but coming in early, he's jumped ahead of Burko, and he's got back ahead of Snipes in that pit stop sequence. So battle for the lead's pretty much done. Redmond, barring mistakes, should hold on from here, but we've got Lime Mitch and Stancliff battling it out for 2nd place, and then we've got a big battle for 4th place. And in fact, a little bit further back behind that, we've got, I think it's Latino and 8, that's actually a lap car. For a second they were battling, but we've got Darren Kemp and Turbo battling as well. They've actually jumped ahead of Taipan for 11th, and after that we've got Steve Warwick, Mishra, Matt Cecil, Lachlan Locke, and Dimmy has been disqualified, so he must have picked up another penalty there. So disaster for Dimmy. Cut back to this battle for essentially 4th place. With Daniel Cox heading that train, but it's getting quite saucy. There's a bit of a lock-up for Throwout and another lock-up behind from Burko. It's to get on anchors pretty hard there. A bit of pump drafting from NZ Snipes there to Burko to get a wriggle on. They've also got Latino starting to home in onto the back of this pack as well.
Coxie's just ran a little bit wide at the hairpin there, so he's going to be vulnerable to throw it down the back straight.
Yeah, I reckon he raised the tyre bundle on the exit of that as well, so that's how wide he was, but he's just far enough ahead that I think he's just out of that slipstream range. So a bit lucky, but he's going to have to keep it on the road. just a couple more laps though. So only a couple more minutes and
Oh, okay.
get full.
Berko was just all sorts of sideways, just coming into that over the hump at the last corner there, but he's managed to keep it. And he's actually pulled a little bit of ground on Peter Thrower, so.
And he's sideways again. They're coming out of turn 2, 3 there. Has made up a little bit of time. I think Thrower's made maybe a slight mistake somewhere. Oh, and Snipes with a big dive into the hairpin. Berko sees him coming and has to just get out of it. He's going to try to go the old switcheroo, but it's too slow of a corner to do that. If a car's on your inside, you're just going to climb into the back of it. He did, but good move from Snipes. Adventurous, but he's been able to pull it up somehow. And now he's going to try and set his sights on Peter Thrower. And his thrower goes wide into the corner. That's encouragement enough for Snipes, who wants to get back by Daniel Cox, who he passed right before pit stops took place.
Yeah, Peter Thrower's he's come at the rough end of this pit stop sequence and he's slowly dropping down, but it may give him a better starting position for this second race with the reverse top 10, but for his sake, I think he wants to keep as high as he can for this race and maximise his points.
Just go further ahead. So we've got Redmond. He's coming out to the penultimate corner. We've got Stancliff and Lime Mitch very, very close together. Stancliff going defensive into turn 6. They've got lap traffic in front of them. It's Justin Cecil. Stancliff's run a little bit wide though. Redmond's going to come through and win the race. But side by side, door banging stuff between Lime Mitch and Stancliff. But was Lime Mitch will just take it. Stancliff just falls at the end to 3rd place. Daniel Cox will come home in 4th place with Thrower holding on to 5th. Snipes in 6th place, followed by Berko in 7th. Latino just joining that battle in the end for 8th. And then we have Darren Kemp in 9th. Turbo with a nice recovery drive into 10th place, followed by Taipan in 11th. And now we have Steve Warwick in 12th place. He's got Mishra all kinds of sideways behind him. He'll come home in 12th. Mishra home in 13th. Cecil home in 14th place. And then Rhodey home in P15. The Lucas Nomarel car. Lock home in 16th place. Justin Cecil a lap down in 17th, followed by Freakish, also a lap down in 18th. Cheese and Rap 19th and 20th with Dimmy with that DQ. And Rossi, some interesting racing there, some good battles, and the second race, I reckon it's set itself up to be a very intriguing battle, with Turmo looking quite quick in the middle portion of that race, and I reckon he's going to make it difficult for a number of these guys, especially if Redmond doesn't get that a really good start. He's going to have to really fight for this one, with everyone being so close together pace-wise.
Well, Turmo's more than qualified enough to definitely go away and win this race. He has won multiple races before, not necessarily in Super 2, but in other series we have run. But yeah, Tim Redmond, the only thing that's probably stopping him is definitely the cars ahead from getting further up the field, because this track has been hard to make passes when in the middle of the pack. So I think he'd be hoping for an early pit stop strategy to just get away from that cluster of cars and then make some time up in clear air.
Yeah, it's certainly a pretty good plan, but the only issue that it could happen with that is if he does pit early and does get that clear air, that's all well and good, but he's still going to have to get by guys, I'd imagine. And he's also going to have to worry about having some very worn tyres at the back end of the race. So if he pits early and puts hards on, he'll be vulnerable, especially in the middle portion of that race, just after the cars at a similar pace around him. If they put soft tyres on and say pit in, say, the smack bang middle of the race, he'll be vulnerable to those guys, and he'll be, a few tenths or maybe even half a second slower per lap, which is quite a lot around this track. So he's got options open to him, but in the end, he's got to get a really solid start. He's also, got to avoid the carnage just to set up, his race and open up those strategy options.
If he can get that first lap nice and clean. If he at least makes up one or two positions, he should be in a good clear space there. Just given how close the cars are going turn one of the hairpin, it's just easy for somebody to run up the back of him, and that'll end his race there. So yeah, if he can make that opening lap a clean one, he should be pretty good to continue on from there and hopefully make a battle of it.
Yeah, so that will be. I think race two here, it's set itself up to be a very entertaining race. Normally, right, we do see some shenanigans happening there. So hopefully, it's like the first race here, and everyone got through the first lap with no incidents. In fact, Rossi didn't really see too many incidents outside of one or two little bump and runs and people just out braking themselves. There's no real massive problems into the hairpins or into turn one like you normally see around this circuit.
No, it was a fairly clean race given the Super 2 standards. It has been very clean of recent, and this race was another one of those clean ones. I think the only bit of contact I saw was just the opening lap, and probably the little touches that Scotty and Limich had going to the line.
Yeah, so commendable job from everybody in the field. And what's also good to see is that Hans Brunswick, he's finished work. He's must have driven home pretty quick, because normally he jumps on about 15 to 20 minutes later than this. So I reckon he's old Fang, that old Ford van, the work van. He's flung that. No, I'm getting home. He's probably blown up his Astra on his way home, and his Opel
Mate,
Astra, and he's gotten into the service. So he's going to pick up some valuable points for Lucas Dumbrell.
it may be his favourite van that he was talking about in the middle of the week. That is the reason why he got home so fast. So congratulations, Hans Brunswick, on getting here so quick.
Well, it could be commiserations if he's picked up a couple speeding fines on the way, but
He
yeah,
was having a dip.
he's having a dip, and he's going to have a dip here. So good to see him here. And he's going to race most of the night, which is good to see. But we're just going to take a break for a minute or two. Just going to sort out some stuff for the second race. But we'll be back shortly. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back. Here we are, Symmons Plains, race 1 done and dusted. Tim Redmond continuing his hot streak, making it 3 from 3. But past that, though, we had some interesting battles there between Lime Mitch and Stancliff at the death, which was only settled at the final corner. And in the end, Stancliff, I think, finished the line either completely sideways or backwards, as a very spectacular finish. Daniel Cox coming home 4th in front of a train of cars. And he pitted early and was able to jump a number of drivers, including NZ Snipes, who they had a spirited battle in the early portion of the race. The man that will start from the front, though, Rossi, Termo, he had to start towards the back end, if not the back of the field for race number 1. And it could be a bit of a smoky here for race number 2, where the top 10 are reversed.
Yes, he could have played a cheeky little strategy card to get himself further up the grid for this second race. And if he gets away to a good start, he may avoid all the kerfuffle that could potentially happen into the turn 1, 2, 3 staircase. And then anything particularly heading into the hairpin, where anything can happen really there if somebody misses their braking points.
Yeah, so going to be an intriguing one, that's for sure. Matt Cecilman on screen, he'll be hoping for a better run out in the second race. First race didn't quite go to plan. It was a lot quicker at Adelaide, but yeah, race 1 didn't quite go to plan. Maybe he ran the hard tyres and didn't quite work out for him. Perhaps he's just struggling around this circuit, but I do expect him to do a little bit better here in the second race. He's outside the top 10, so he'll finish where he started in race number 2 here. So he bounces over the curb at turn 2 and then loops it to the gravel there. A number of drivers actually struggling out there, but the big news, Hans Brunswick has made it. So everybody in the chat, please remember, go Hans, please spam that in the live chat, and if you do watch the race back at a later date, please spam that in the comments section as well. We do love to see it. And also with his teammate as well, hashtag Rhodium, don't forget to spam that as well. Session just coming to an end here. Rossi, who's your pick for race victory here in race number 2 from Symmons Plains?
It's going to be a difficult one because anything can happen given strategy. It'd be hard to put it past Tim Redmond, but if we're not choosing Tim Redmond because he's the obvious favourite, I might like to see Steve Berker probably put a stance back on his championship, defending it. So he may come out with a win starting from 4th on the grid, as we've got a server reset.
Yeah, so it looks like I think Dimmy was having some issues, so just being reset, Dimmy will come back in. The grid will then be set, and then hopefully we'll be able to go no issues. But Lime Mitch, I think, is one where we've seen him in the past get lightning starts, able to pick his way through a number of cars on the first lap. He could set himself up for his first win of the season and get his season back on track. Burko, as you said, yeah, he's a chance. Doesn't quite have, I think, that outright speed that his former teammate Lion Mitch has, but he's quite consistent. Might pull a different strategy to get him into play, and of course Stancliff as well. Very, very quick. He's just got to, I think, just avoid maybe Lion Mitch a little bit. So maybe if he can just maybe change the strategy up a little bit, and he's not caught, or they're not caught battling with each other until the back end of the race, they should set themselves up for a good race. But as you said, these two, they don't like each other, and if it's earlier in the race, they're going to cost themselves a chance of a victory if they're stuck battling each other. So that's going to be something to look out for. And then, of course, we did see at Adelaide, it didn't take Tim Redmond long at all to get to the front. But Adelaide's a different circuit, Rossi. Symmons Plains, as we've seen so far tonight, even though you've got some big braking zones and long straights, it's not particularly an easy track to pass on.
No, and people think when it is such a small track that it has to be easy, but with all the bumps, speeds, the heavy braking, and then just the constant loading, you're never actually not turning a wheel. So, yeah, it's a different beast for the drivers to tackle compared to Adelaide, where you do have those straights where you can take breathers and set up a move properly into 90-degree corners and sort of get a better run, where here you've got to have the correct flow to make your moves and really set it up a couple of corners before you actually attempt one.
Yeah, it's very easy for guys to defend, as we saw with Daniel Cox there with NZ Snipes. He just moved his car to the middle of the road, coming out of that long right-hand sweeper before turn 6, and it made it pretty much impossible for Snipes behind to get the move done. And that's probably the easiest spot to overall. The best opportunity to pass or place to pass is into turn number 6, because the hairpin, you can pass into there, but the car on the outside, it can hold on around the outside as well.
Yeah, so it's definitely has that option there, but then they do get stuck if they're on the outside too long. When they get onto the main straight, they could end up in the boonies there and potentially hit the pit wall.
Yeah, you do not want to end up in the boonies out here. It's very, very cold in Tasmania, and it's very, very wet. Thankfully for these drivers though, there's no rain in Automobilista, except with if you have RFE or the track's modded for it, so it's always wet, but it doesn't technically rain. The grip is always the same. But anyway, here we are, formation lap for race number 2 here from Symmons Plains. Rossi, you don't have to rush through the back end as fast as last time, because we had quite a ways to go, but running through the grid once again here from Symmons Plains. I think Rossi, seeing my Discord there, looks like he's just dropped out again, unfortunately. So F in the chat for Rossi's internet. So Turmo will start from pole position. He'll have Darren Kemp for company. He'll be looking to not run off the road on the exit of turn 2 this time around. RSM Latino has made his way through the field nicely in race number 1. He'll be hoping to do that again and even steal a podium here in race number 2. NZ Snipes, quite quick. A little bit unfortunate, made a couple of mistakes, but still a solid result in race 1. He'll look to continue that one here. Race number 2, he'll start 5th. Peter Thrower will look to rectify some mistakes. He'll start P6, and then we have Daniel Cox right behind him in 7th place. Stancliff in 8th place, not too far away from his teammate. So a solid night for 888 Race Engineering so far. And we have Lion Mitch in 9th place for Matt White Motorsport again. These two teams look like they're going to be the teams to beat in the Teams Championship. Tim Redmond, clean sweep so far. He'll start from P10, bit of work to do, but that's what happens when you win races. Taipan in 11th. Steve Warwick will start from 12th place. Mishra in 13th. And then we have Matt Cecil, who'll be looking to improve here in race number 2. Race 1 not going his way. Rody will start in 15th. Will Lucas Dumbrell Motorsport. Then we have Lachlan Lock in 16th with Erebus Motorsport. Justin Cecil, his teammate, right behind him in 17th. Freakish, he'll be looking for a little bit extra pace and luck in this one. He starts 18th. Then we have Cheese in 19th. Rap, he'll be looking for a better run this time. He'll start in 20th. Dimitri will start 21st after being disqualified from race number 1. And there it is, the man of the moment, Hans Brunswick. Go Hans.
Although he's gone a bit further forward in his box than he should otherwise probably have gone right now, and a couple of drivers did that in the last race. There he goes, he's in position now.
So good Sumo fairway for his box with Kemp a little bit further back. The lights are on, away we go, and Dimitri's jump start, picked up a penalty already. Kemp's had a good second launch though, he's just ahead into turn 2, and he sweeps into the lead. Burko tries to go around the outside, well, he's going to try and hold on around the outside, but he's going to go side by side with Latino, and now I don't know if we saw any on the way back. So far it's been fairly clean.
Yeah, very clean start, same as race 1. Everybody really cautious and adhering to the rules on the opening lap. There's a little bit of bump and grind at the rear of the pack going into the hairpin. That's Freakish, and Cecil and Brunswick already getting interested in the back of Freakish, and Dart's through the middle as well, and going to make a couple of spots on the run to 5.
He's gone 3 wide here with Burko and Snipes, with Daniel Cox looking around as well. A little bit further back we've got Lion Mitch, Peter Thrower and Tim Redmond all jerking it out, and they're actually joining onto the back of Daniel Cox here. So a big battle pack starting to form. A little bit of contact between Thrower and Redmond, so hectic start here in this midfield. Redmond looking for the inside into turn 2. He's going to get the job done, and Stanker's going to follow him up into 9th. Stanker's got the best one of all here, and he's going to look to sneak by his compatriot.
Yeah, Scotty Stancliff taking no prisoners right now on the march, having started 3rd or 4th row of the grid, having been passed at the last minute by Lion Mitch in that opening race, and of course the reverse top 10 means he has a little bit of work to do. And Tim Redmond up 2 spots as well. So fairly settled on this opening lap or two. No one really making any huge dives at the moment. Not really looking to tighten the screws just yet. Maybe a couple of them might wait to try and take advantage through the pit stop sequence.
Yeah, it might be an idea for some of these fast guys to try something different. And speaking of big dives, though, we did have a big dive from Daniel Cox there to get ahead of Snipes, but behind him now. Oh, a bit of contact!
Oh, contact!
Oh, and around is a frisbee. Goes Lion Mitch is a disc, is a flying disc through the air.
Oh, and Snipes around off the exit of 1 and 2 as well. So I think that was Stancliff that got into the back of Lion Mitch, and I'm not sure what happened to NZ Snipes, but he was around after all that contact, and
yeah.
he got collected by Stancliff as well.
Oh, yeah, just a mess. There's so many cars. It's just a small area, and Stancliff was just caught out by how early everyone was braking in front of him. It was at the start-finish line. People were braking there, and unfortunately running into the back of Lion Mitch, and then it's a bit out of control once that contact was made. And speaking of out of control, Burko's locked up into turn 6, and that's allowed Redmond to go by. And, well, there's another Red Bull car. That is, I think that's Stancliff.
Peter Thrower.
No, it's, yeah, Thrower, is it?
Peter Thrower's in the other car.
It is.
Yeah,
so that was him that went off, and Hans Brunswick, fast starter, he's up to 11th already.
Jeez, what a drive. He's torn through half the field already, has car number 66, and it might, 62, and it might be inside the top 10 down here at the hairpin. He gets really down into the tight band, but he's covering it. But it means that Warwick's now vulnerable, and Hans, oh, look at the block pass, slid right up in front of Warwick beautifully.
Yeah, he used that beautifully, and that little nudge is going to help him. A little bit of bump drifting, NASCAR style down the straight here. It's helping him get a little bit closer to the back of the Monster Energy car that he's trying to pass to begin with. Warwick's going to have a look as well, but it's easy to defend in here. Brunswick, though, deep on the brakes. He's not going to pull it up. Bit of contact. They're both wide. Dimitri's got another penalty. And Steve Warwick says, thank you very much. This does the recovering Burko and Peter Thrower. So a little bit too much sauce on that one. And Brunswick now back down to 14th place.
Yeah, too many drivers there going for all the dip, and Hans Brunswick's gone around again too.
Yeah, he's been, I think there's a nudge there. Got a nudge from, I think that was Freakish. So let's have a replay. Yeah, Freakish come from a long way back there. He's driving like he was by himself, and unfortunately for Hans, to the back of the field, that side of Dimitri. But at the front, though, it's actually had a bit of battling going on. Kemp in the lead, but Turmo and Latino side by side into turn 6. They've got a handy gap over Cox, 3.2 seconds, as Turmo's going to try and go around the outside at the final 2 corners. He's not really going to do it there, but maybe he's just going to force his nose in and force Latino to run a little bit wide at turn 2, maybe. No, Latino's got the job done, so good racing, hard racing, but Latino, awkward exit, and Turmo is going to have a good run out into the hairpin. Just perfect for Kemp.
And Tim Redmond's made up some handy positions into 5th. He's only sitting probably a second and a half behind Coxie now, heading into the hairpin, and yeah, really making an effort of trying to make it 4 race wins from 4 races.
And he's going to get by there side by side with Danny Cox out. Big winner out of this has been Mishra, and he's found himself disqualified again. So I'm guessing he's getting drive throughs and just not serving them. Or perhaps there may be a slight glitch with the track, I don't know. But there it is, Redmond up into 4th, and with those battling in front, he should close up to the back of him. If I was Turmo in this situation, looks like Latino has just got by him, it's just easing away. Also, I reckon I'd pull into the pits here, Rossi, just get in, hopefully get into some clear air, and with some fresh tyres, and try and not only get ahead of Latino and Kemp, but also try and pull a gap on Redmond behind.
If that wasn't to work out for him, I'd almost also probably wait until Redmond comes just up to the back of him, then pull into the pits. That way you're extending your tyre life towards the back end of the race. But other than that, it's probably going to be too hard to beat Redmond from there once he gets up to the back of him.
Yeah, so 2 thoughts of mine there. You can always a big lock up for Latino. He's off, he's on the grass. He's actually got his pit crew ready there. And he's actually going to come into the pits. So, he's coming a bit hot there. I reckon he's going to have a drive through, I'd say, with that. He's very hot, but we'll wait and see. Redmond 52.8, and he was just a 10th faster than Turmo on that last lap. So he's got to find a little bit extra. Here's Burko down in 7th, just the fastest lap of the race. It's way through the field here. Brody up into 9th place. He's at a solid run, just at his fastest lap of the race, and he's run wide there at turn 2. But geez, he's got Lion Mitch and some fast runners behind him. He's got Lachlan Lock as well as just Cecil Snipes and Rat behind him. I think we've seen a number of guys pit here. So Stancliff, yep, there it is. There's a penalty for Latino. There's Lion Mitch very wide at the hairpin. But yeah, we've got Stancliff down in 20th, Thrower also down in 20th place. I reckon those guys have pitted.
They would have had to pitted regarding where they were, probably in the order of the grids, but yeah, they might be able to make up some positions here, trying to make a little bit of an undercut on some drivers on fresh new tyres while they're out there on some old tyres for the next 2 or 3 laps.
So they're looking to get a bit of an undercut going. Stancliff has got Cecil and one of the GRM cars in front, so I think Matt Cecil, that is. I keep forgetting to add the Matt onto that. That's Taipan. Also, no, that's Mishra, my mistake. Peter Thrall, though, he's actually in a bit of clear air, and got a number of drivers now into the pits, and Latino 7 his drive through. But Freakish coming to the pits, he's got a Bonnet Brunswick's just pitted, he's right behind Lachlan Lock, and Cheese also going through the pit lane as well. Also got that is Kemp and Turbo into the pits as well. Lion Mitch has just pitted, and he's got a lap down in 15th, and he's right behind
Race leader Tim Redmond.
He's looking to get a move done because they maybe not racing directly, but he won't want to lose too many points in the championship, and he want to probably just hold him up also for the championship points, more so than they are battling for an actual position here.
Yeah, so this will cost Redmond some time over Termo and Kemp here, with him battling at the moment with Lion Mitch, but given that he stayed out that extra lap and possibly this extra second lap, if he doesn't come in, he will have the fresher tyres, and he comes in.
Cecil in second, he's coming in. Mishra coming in, so Cecil did get by him here. That's NZ Snipes, he's actually dropped a fair way down. He's coming into the pits as well. Brat still going along out there in 5. Warwick still at the pit in 6. Turbo has actually jumped ahead of Darren Kemp in the pit stop sequence, or Kemp has made a mistake somewhere that they've missed. And Daniel Cox has actually made up a heap of time in the pit stop sequence as well. So Turbo now coming around turn number 6, and Tim Redmond's just got going away. But where will Turbo end up? He's going to have the lead by how much, as we see. Fastest lap for Daniel Cox.
Oh, Turbo's got in hot.
Turbo, and that's awkward. Disaster for Turbo. If he didn't make that mistake, he'd be in the lead, but now he's got a bit of work to do.
Yeah, I think Turbo would have come in comfortably ahead of him there, but he just tried to bite a little bit more than what he could chew, and yeah, just come very close to running wide. Just cost him a bucket load of time.
Not only that, he's also lost time to Daniel Cox and Kemp behind with that mistake. He's got the toe now, and he's really got to get ahead and try and dictate the race, because sitting behind Redmond will probably end up just driving by him, or driving away from him. He doesn't get a move.
Well, he needs to do it in this, basically this next lap, otherwise his tyres are pretty much shot, and he's just going to be a sitting duck behind Redmond here, so he'd either want to just keep following and then wait for a mistake from Redmond, which is unlikely, but can happen. But yeah, Turbo, he needs to do it in this next lap.
It's very close into turn 6. I'm surprised he didn't pull out and try it, but Redmond is closing up to the back of Brat. That is 4th position. Brat he's struggling. He may actually have a problem with his car there, because he's driving at a normal speed. He's in 2nd place, but he's yet to pit. Got Peter Throw a bit of a gap between himself and Kemp, and he's actually got Mishra and Burko not too far away as well, but he's actually done alright in the pit stop sequence to recover to where he has, as we see Cecil and Lion Mitch now duking it out for 9th place.
Yeah, Turbo's lost a little bit more ground. to Tim Redmond because, oh, and he's just had a half spin and he's going to lose position to Daniel Cox at turn 3.
So Cox now pulls ahead into second place, and that could be the big break that Coxie was looking for here. But Redmond into the lead, and on his way to making it 4 from 4 here. His key rivals all making errors or being caught up in some mishaps, and 2.6 seconds clear, or now 3 seconds clear of Coxie, and probably just cruise to the finish here.
And he's fooled me because I thought it'd be a strategy race to get him into this position, but he's just raced like it was any other normal race, just come in at a normal time, and he's still come out in front. So yeah, the other guys are going to have to really step up their game to match Tim Redmond at this point.
Work to do for the rest of the field. Perhaps still going on out there, and so Burko's dropped off the back of that queue. Just want to see what's happened to Burko here. Or has he always been there? I don't know. I have to check live races for that one. So just bear with me. See Burko in 54.2. That's not ideal lap time. He'll be going second faster. At least in the 53s. As Turmo now looking to get back into second place, putting Cox under a bit of pressure. At 15 now of 17. Redmond leading the way in the big battle for second place. And we've got yellows, that's Kemp. He's gone around at turn number 2. So have a look at the replays. Just lost it under braking. Yeah, lost the rears a little bit under braking. Just pendulum around and freakish. It's going to go to the inside, but Kemp was like, no, in a hurry here. So it's a chance of a podium. Goes begging after leading the early portion of the race. Brapp still hanging on out there. I'd say he's on the harder tyre. He's trying the no-stop strategy. He's in an okay position, but he's just got no pace at the moment. As Peter Throw gets by, as does Mishra, and Lai Mitch, after getting by Matt Cecil, now also on a charge.
Oh, Peter Throw's pushed it wide into the grass, and Nusrit's passed him.
Yeah, big shame. He's had a good night pace-wise, Rossi, but just key mistakes have dropped him down the field here.
Especially that that sixth corner, I believe it is, just on the bumps. He must seem to lose it and just locks his brake, and then it pushes him into the grass, and you just lose time just sitting out there compared to other corners where that might happen.
Yeah, there's not too many objects where you can sort of use as a braking point down there, so he may just be missing his braking point or mixing it up and just out-brakes himself a little bit, which is very easy to do down there. But he's getting a big hurry up from Cecil, and Brapp's actually made a mistake that we haven't seen. He's actually now dropped down out of the 10th to 11th, as Burko and Kemp battling it out here into 6th, and Kemp making it very, very difficult for Burko. He's went a little bit wide at 6th. Burko's going to send it up the inside at the final corner at 7, and he'll have the inside and up into 4th place. But I thought for a second he was going to pull it up at turn 1, but he has done so. Battle for second though, looks like that's been decided. Cox has just been able to stretch away a little bit and look comfortable here.
Yeah, he's looking fairly comfortable since he got that move done on Turmo after his little mistake, but I think he's pretty much going to be comfortably finishing in second with Turmo in third, barring a mistake. But yeah, pretty much a solid weekend so far, and really just keeping his consistency in the championship going.
And speaking of consistency, Tim Redmond, 4 from 4, so similar to what happened last season with the HRT team and them winning the opening few races, few rounds of the season. He's continuing that hot form, same sort of team, more control back team. Coxie though, very solid night so far from him, second place here ahead of Turmo. Nice battle between those two. Burko will recover to 4th place in the end, so his old head able to pick up a solid result there with some smart driving. Mishra up 8 spots, probably could have been a little bit better, but you'll still take P5 in the end there. Cecil, nice recovery job, kept it out of the walls. and he'll come home 6 ahead of Lime Mitch, who was, well, up and down like a yo-yo, and he'll recover to 7th place. Taipan home in 8th, hasn't had the same pace as what he had at Adelaide, but still consistent points and solid start for Pro Drive Racing Australia in the Teams Championship. Darren Kemp home 9th in the end, so yeah, the second half of the race falling away from him there. I think he's made a late mistake in that race to see him lose a couple of spots. NZ Snipes home in 10th. Again, he'd be kicking himself that he wasn't able to capitalise on a solid opening stanza and starting position in this one, but still solid points nonetheless. Stancliff home in 11th. He'll be a little bit disappointed to be caught up in a couple incidents. But still, 11th, solid points for him. Rhodey home in 12th place, and he's quite happy with himself doing some donuts out there. And he finished in front of Brapp and Hans Brunswick, who had a flying start to the race, Rossi, but a bit of bad luck, and being caught up in some incidents saw him drop down through the field.
Yeah, it was just one thing after the other for him. After getting, I think it must have been either just in the 10 or on the 10. Yeah, those little bits of contact and running wide just escalated, and then from there on he was just repeating it. And yeah, falling foul of the wrong side of falling down a position.
So that's what happens when you do start towards the back of the field. You do put yourself in that area. That said, though, if there's any consolation, he's putting that Rulo car much higher than what it ever would have been or ever was in real life. So still solid 14th place for a Dumbrell car there. Cheese coming home in 15th. Latino, after a solid start to his race, blew it by coming into the pits too hot. Also made a slight mistake just before that at turn 6 before he came into the pits there as well. So he was looking good before that drive-through penalty. He'll be kicking himself with that one. Warwick home in 17th. I think he was caught up in 1 or 2 incidents. Freakish we saw run into the back of Hans at turn 2. He still had a bonnet at that stage, but when we saw him into the pits a couple laps later, he didn't have one, so he's had an incident somewhere. Cecil home in 19th. Justin Cecil, that is. I keep forgetting to add Justin and Matt to both their names there. Lock home in 20th. Peter Thrower in the end a DNF, so don't know what happened there, Rossi, but that must have happened on the last lap of the race.
Yeah, I was just noting down some information regarding that, and I thought it might have just been an error on my side after rejoining a server, but yeah, given that he's finished so low and so sudden, it must have been on the last lap.
Yeah, actually, looking at my screen, he completed 15 of 17, so disaster for Peter Thrower there. But anyway, we've got our number of our podium getters in the box with us. Rossi, why don't you ask a few questions of our successful drivers here from Symmons Plains?
We'll try and keep it short and simple so drivers can get out for their next practice session. But Tim Redmond, we'll head to you first, given that you are ultimately consistent among the others. You're 4 from 4. Is there anything you can't do in this current series? We've thought we might have been stuck for this second race strategically, but yeah, you just keep coming out on top. Did you ever think for that second race you could have done something different, or you just ran the race as normal?
I pretty much played by ear. I had a general idea of a strategy that I was playing, which wasn't too far different from the first, but it really depended on where I was, who was around me, and what laps we were on. And it so happened that I managed to get into 3rd or 4th, I think, and then a couple of guys went off, so I thought, I'll do one more in me, and then try and just get a real short pit stop in. And it worked in my favour. I think I came out right behind Termo as he was coming across the line.
Yeah, you just caught up to him when he was passing you at turn 1 after coming out of the pits. So, yeah, you pretty much come out exactly where you needed to be. But, yeah, congratulations on your 2 wins currently so far in the night, and best of luck heading into round 3.
Thank you very much.
We'll go to Scott Stancliff next, who was 3rd in the first race. I can't particularly remember how that happened, but how did you see that race play out, and then if you wanted to carry on into the second race?
He had that big battle with Lime Mitch.
Lime Mitch, that's right.
Yeah, no, the first race I thought was quite good. I mean, Lime had a pretty good battle. There was some bumping and shoving and whatnot, but I thought it was all pretty what comes to that. But yeah, no, it was a good race. And then second race, there was just a bottleneck into turn 2. Everyone jammed on their brakes 100 meters earlier than what I thought, and I just unfortunately I think I actually collected Lime, took out NZ Snipes, which bit of a shame. We're probably on for a good shout to sort of be in the top 5 on that one, but wasn't to be, so it's all good. Carry on.
Yes, heading into round 3, is there anything you'd want to do different tyre strategy wise, or anything that you might have to do out of the unusual to sort of boost yourself in this championship, given this is only your first and second race of the championship?
Yeah, unfortunately, wasn't meant to be, missing the first round, so I am a bit behind the 8 ball, but hey, I'm aware of that, and it's already showing that Tim's going to be very hard to catch in the Drivers' Championship, so I just want to get some clean races under the belt, have a bit of fun, and see what we can do in the Teams Championship more so than the Drivers. Peter's come a long way, my teammate, and he's driving well. So we'll see in these strategy races. I think the key is getting clear air and not battling people. So we'll see how we go.
Now, well, best of luck for round 3 at Phillip Island, and hopefully all goes well for you and your team there.
All good. Cheers, guys.
We might head over to Daniel Cox, who finished second in that second race. I believe that may be his best result so far in the Super 2 series.
Yes.
How'd you see that race play out for yourself?
I got a bit lucky, actually. I don't know what happened to Snipes behind me. I think I boggled the last corner and I got in his way, and I think he got tagged in the back. So sorry about that, because he was being cautious. But other than that, and then after that, I sort of got away from the pack, and I saw the 3 ahead of me battling, but I couldn't catch them. I think they were on the better tyres than I was, and I kept on cooking my tyres. But no, and then I had a good battle with Termo, and he just stuffed up coming out of turn 2, and basically he had his tyre life was 2 laps better than mine. So my goal was just be a big fat green forward in the hairpin, which sort of worked. And then unfortunately I locked a brake again, so I had another flat spot. So I was braking earlier and earlier, but I kept on sliding in front of him, and kudos to him to not hitting me. Like, that was good driving, because I didn't mean to go as far across as I did, but then he just lost the rears on 2 laps to go, and I was about to coast it home. But it's good to actually know the fuel rate rather than going off the defaults that I did in Adelaide and stuffed me up completely. So my pit stops worked well. So anyway, I'll shut up now because I've got to practice for this next race.
All right, we'll let you go and practice there, and I don't know if you want to interview anybody else, Lewis, but I might leave it there for my side of things.
All right. Well, we do have Lime Mitch and Termo in here. Termo is muted, but we'll go to Lime Mitch first off. Well, Lime, mixed bag at Symmons Plains. It showed some solid pace, and you had to do a bit of recovery work after a not so solid qualifying effort. Cracking battle at the back end of race 1. How'd you see that battle with yourself and Stancliff?
Yeah, I think it was all clean and fair. A bit of bumping, which is it's always a bit of fun in racing. But yeah, it seems to have a really good pace through some spots. Yeah,
then race 2. You had an okay start, but unfortunately just caught up in what was, as Stancliff mentioned, just a massive bottleneck, and unfortunately you were the victim of just circumstances. It seemed like you're just in the wrong place at the wrong time there.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll just rename you Termo 2.0 in the Discord. But anyway, still, you ended up picking some solid points. Not the points you would have wanted, but still points that you need nonetheless. Well done.
Thank you.
Alright, and of course we do have the man Termo here. Not a solid, well, not a good start to the weekend in qualifying, Termo, but you're able to pick your way through the field nicely in race 1 and set yourself up with a solid front row start for race number 2. But race 2 there, it was looking good until you, until Redmond exited pits, and at the same time you outbroke yourself into turn number 1 there, or turn 1 and 2 there.
Yeah, made a few mistakes. The tyres were getting a bit worn with just 1 lap. And, yeah.
Bit of a shame, but obviously Redmond after that did manage to just drive away a little bit, but you're able to have a nice battle with Coxie, but just couldn't quite hold on there. Would you talk us through that battle for a bit?
Not really. It was a battle.
It's a battle. Well, still, well done, Turmo, on a solid 3rd place in race number 2 from Symmons Plains. Well done.
Thank you.
Alright, well, that'll do us for about 10 to 15 minutes. We'll take a break in the broadcast, but we will be back for the 2nd round of the night. So round 3 from Phillip Island. See you in about 10 to 15 minutes.